Have you ever noticed that some people work hard their entire lives, yet never manage to build real wealth? Meanwhile, others seem to accumulate more money and assets year after year. Are they simply smarter? Were they luckier? Or is there something they understand that most people never learn? The truth is, becoming wealthy is rarely just about working harder. More often, it comes down to the way you think, the decisions you make every day, and the habits you repeat over the course of your life. What's even more surprising is that millions of people spend decades believing they're doing everything right, when in reality, they're following a path that almost guarantees they'll never achieve financial freedom. In this video, you'll discover the biggest reasons why most people never become rich. These aren't secret formulas or get-rich-quick schemes. They're patterns identified by psychologists, economists, and successful investors that help explain why some people build wealth while others remain trapped in the same financial cycle for decades. And make sure you stay until the end, because the final reason is often the most overlooked of all, and it may be the very thing holding you back today. Let's begin. The first mistake most people make is confusing income with wealth. Many people believe that earning a high salary automatically makes someone rich. But income and wealth are two completely different things. Imagine two people. The first person earns an excellent salary but spends almost everything on a luxury car, expensive clothes, vacations, and monthly payments. The second person earns less but consistently saves and invests part of every paycheck. Which one looks richer? Probably the first. But which one is actually building wealth? The second. Wealth isn't measured by how much money comes in. It's measured by how much money stays with you and continues to grow. One of the biggest financial traps is something economists call lifestyle inflation. As people's income increases, so do their expenses. Instead of investing the extra money, they upgrade their house, buy a more expensive car, purchase the latest gadgets, and gradually create a lifestyle that requires every dollar they earn. Years go by. Their salary keeps increasing, but their net worth barely changes. The appearance of wealth replaces actual wealth. The second reason is that most people only work for money. For the majority of people, income depends entirely on showing up to work every day. No work, no paycheck. There's nothing wrong with having a job. The problem is relying on only one source of income. Everyone has the same 24 hours in a day. No matter how hard you work, there is a limit to how much time you can sell. Wealthy people understand this. Instead of relying only on active income, they focus on building assets. An asset is something that continues generating income even when you're not actively working. It could be investments, rental properties, a business, royalties, or even a YouTube channel that continues earning money months or years after a video is published. Building assets doesn't necessarily mean quitting your job. It means using today's income to create tomorrow's financial freedom. The third reason is that emotions often control financial decisions. Most people believe money is about math. In reality, it's often about psychology. The human brain is naturally wired to seek immediate rewards. That's why we make impulse purchases. That's why we procrastinate when it comes to investing. That's why we convince ourselves that buying something today will somehow make us happier. Behavioral economists have spent decades studying this phenomenon. Again and again, research shows that our emotions influence financial decisions far more than logic does. People who constantly seek instant gratification usually struggle to build long-term wealth. Those who learn to delay gratification tend to make better financial decisions over time. And that's where true wealth is created. Not overnight, but through thousands of smart decisions repeated consistently over many years. The fourth reason is surprisingly simple. Most people never learn how money actually works. Think about it. In school, we're taught mathematics, history, science, and geography. But very few people are ever taught how to budget, invest, understand inflation, or use compound interest to their advantage. Yet these are the very skills that shape our financial future. As a result, millions of adults enter the real world without the knowledge needed to make informed financial decisions. They save money in places where it loses value. They borrow without understanding the true cost of debt. They invest based on emotions, headlines, or advice from people who know just as little as they do. Financial education isn't about memorizing complicated formulas. It's about understanding how money behaves. Once you understand that, every financial decision becomes a little smarter. And over the course of decades, those small improvements can completely transform your future. The fifth reason is that many people spend their lives trying to look rich instead of becoming rich. Luxury cars, designer clothes, expensive watches, the newest smartphone, a larger house. There's nothing inherently wrong with owning nice things. The problem begins when those purchases are driven by the desire to impress others rather than improve your own life. Many self-made millionaires live surprisingly modest lifestyles. Not because they can't afford more, but because they understand something most people don't. Real wealth buys freedom, not attention. Every dollar spent trying to appear successful is a dollar that can no longer be invested to create future wealth. Ironically, the people who look the richest are often carrying enormous amounts of debt. Meanwhile, those quietly building wealth usually attract far less attention. The sixth reason is that most people underestimate the incredible power of compound interest. At first, compound growth seems almost invisible. The progress feels painfully slow. That's why many people give up too early. But compound interest works much like rolling a small snowball down a mountain. At the beginning, it barely grows. Then, little by little, it starts collecting more snow. Eventually, it becomes so large that its growth seems almost unstoppable. Money behaves the same way. Your investments begin earning returns. Then those returns begin earning returns of their own. Over time, the growth accelerates. This is why starting early is often far more important than investing huge amounts later in life. Time is one of the greatest advantages an investor can have. Unfortunately, it's also the one resource you can never get back. The seventh reason is that people keep waiting for the perfect moment. I'll start investing when I earn more. I'll save money when the economy improves. I'll begin next year. These statements sound reasonable, but they often become excuses that delay action for years. The perfect moment rarely arrives. Successful investors don't begin because conditions are perfect. They begin because they understand that progress comes from taking action. They start with small amounts. They make mistakes. They learn. They improve. And with each step, their confidence grows. Waiting for certainty often means watching opportunities pass by. The people who build wealth aren't necessarily those who have all the answers. They're the ones who are willing to begin before everything feels perfect. The eighth reason is that most people think only about the short term. We live in a world that rewards instant gratification. With just a few taps, we can order food, watch movies, buy almost anything, and receive constant entertainment. Over time, this conditions our brains to expect immediate results in every area of life. But wealth doesn't work that way. Businesses take years to grow. Investments need time to multiply. Skills require consistent practice. Strong careers are built one decision at a time. The people who become wealthy understand that success is rarely explosive. More often, it's the result of small actions repeated consistently over many years. While most people quit because they don't see immediate progress, successful people keep going because they trust the process. Patience isn't just a virtue in finance. It's a competitive advantage. The ninth reason is that most people stop investing in the one asset that can produce the greatest return. Themselves. Your knowledge, your skills, your mindset, and your ability to solve problems are some of the most valuable assets you'll ever own. Markets can crash, businesses can fail, money can be lost, but the skills you develop stay with you for life. Every book you read, every new skill you learn, every challenge you overcome, increases your ability to create value. And in almost every economy, people who create more value tend to earn more over time. That's why the most successful individuals never stop learning. They invest in education. They improve their communication. They develop leadership skills. They study psychology. They learn how businesses work. They constantly expand their understanding of the world. Because they know that the greatest investment they'll ever make is in the person they become. And finally, the 10th reason, perhaps the most important one of all. Most people believe that being rich is only about having money. But true wealth goes much deeper than a bank account. Money can buy comfort. It can create opportunities. It can provide security. But it cannot replace time. It cannot guarantee health. It cannot build meaningful relationships. And it cannot give your life purpose. Some people spend decades chasing money only to discover they've sacrificed everything else that truly matters. Others learn to build wealth while also protecting their health, their family, their peace of mind, and their freedom. Real wealth isn't about showing the world how much you own. It's about having the freedom to live life on your own terms. To choose how you spend your time. To work because you want to. Not because you have to. To help the people you love. And to wake up each day knowing your money works for you. Instead of you spending your entire life working for money. So why do most people never become rich? It's usually not because they lack intelligence. It's not because they weren't lucky enough. And it's certainly not because success is reserved for a select few. More often than not, it's because they repeat the same financial habits, day after day, year after year, without ever questioning whether those habits are leading them where they truly want to go. The encouraging news is that habits can change. Every smart financial decision, no matter how small, has the power to shape your future. Building wealth doesn't happen overnight. It happens through consistency, through patience, through discipline, and through thousands of choices that most people never realize they're making. Now the question is, will you keep following the path that almost everyone else is taking? Or will you start building a different financial future today? If you found value in this video, don't forget to subscribe and join us for more content on psychology, wealth, personal growth, and the mindset behind extraordinary success. Because sometimes, the smallest change in the way you think can completely transform the way you live.